we have this mechanism where we push down all like the emotional stuff we don't want to experience, right? And this mechanism just blew open. So everything blew in my face. I wasn't addressing, or not everything, but a lot of it. So I had a lot of fear coming up. So I had so much fear, anxiety, depression. I was in a deep depression. I felt so fearful, and yeah, it was very different from what I thought it's going to happen, because it was the total opposite. So it was the total opposite of love and joy. And it was horrible. So I looked out through the world. It was a horrible place. And I felt horrible. My body felt tired and drained. And
Eva, thank you so much for joining us. You are a channel and a medium, and you're a spiritual healer, but I'm not going to share much of your story. I'd like you to share. So if you could just tell us about what happened in your life that brought you to where you are right now.
yeah, thank you so much for having me, Natasha. It's really nice to be on your podcast. Thank you so much. And yeah, okay, I start right away. So meditation and spiritual awakening and levels of consciousness and all of that found me about 6 years ago. So before, I just lived a very normal human life. I didn't really look into anything of that. But, you kind of know what it is, so you kind of heard of it, but it wasn't my journey back then. So I just went to school, finished high school. Then I finished university, a law degree in degree in mediation, and then I worked in real estate. And basically all my life, I was looking for something, for something more. So for fulfillment, for a life purpose, just something was missing. And I couldn't find it anywhere in my life. So I thought when I finished university, I find it then, because I accomplished something major, studying law, and then it's going to be there. And also working in real estate, earning good money or having a good job. This is what it's going to be. This is just what I thought. But yeah, I couldn't find it at all. So I decided after a few years, okay, I'm just going to take some time off. It ended being 2 years off from work, where I just lived from my savings and with my parents. And I decided to just look for my purpose or this fulfillment. And because the purpose and the fulfillment wasn't there, kind of a lot of suffering was there at the same time, because you're yearning for something, you don't even know what it is. So there was like sadness, devastation, and just mild depressions coming in and stuff like that, where yeah, I just didn't feel great. I didn't feel good at all, and I just wanted to feel amazing and have a good and nice life experience. This is really what I wanted. And yeah, I mean, today I know what I was looking for. I was looking for realizing my true nature, but I didn't know back then, right? So this is the journey I went on. And then when I had the time off, I started to read like books about personal development. I listened to podcasts, did online courses, and then I found out to basically have a nicer life experience, I have to look inside. So I have to transform my inner world to also have a nicer life experience on the outer world. And yeah, and then this is kind of what started me being on the spiritual journey. And then I have found this 10 meditation online program where I just meditated, because with meditation you can look inside, right? You look inward, you withdrawn from the outside world. And I had a really profound experience with one of these meditations. So I felt in a very, very deep space of pure silence, freedom, emptiness. There was nothing there. So the Eva wasn't there. There was my life story was gone. All the problems and the looking for purpose and everything was just gone. So it was just an empty but very beautiful space, where I felt expanded, and I really, really enjoyed it. And today I know it's samadhi, but back then I didn't know. I just experienced that space, and I thought, okay, interesting. When I can experience this in a meditation, so it's a thing, I probably can experience this in life as well. So yeah, this is basically what kept me, where I really started, and then a friend of mine recommended a meditation group, because he said, just meditate on a regular basis and then you see what happens. And I started meditating twice a week with this. It was a very small group, like 5 people. And the person who led the meditation group was transmitting spiritual energies, but I didn't know back then what it was. And I also didn't feel any energies or anything. So for me, it was just sitting in silence for an hour twice a week. It was quite challenging. You know, the mind goes crazy and the body doesn't want to sit, but I don't know. I just felt there was something more I want to explore, and it felt right. So I felt like also this guy who led the group, he has answers or he knows more than I do. And I don't know, I felt this draw towards him. And 3 months in, my system was open enough that I started feeling energies. So I started feeling bliss. So all over my body, there was a vibration. I felt, the more joy coming in and love coming in. So that was really nice. I started to see lights in front of my eyes closed and had visions and stuff like that. So I really saw, okay, things are happening, and I was more motivated. And also with this group, I learned about levels of consciousness. I learned that there is actually a journey we can go through in one life experience and experience ourselves in a different way than I was experiencing myself at that time. And so basically the next big step, I knew I wanted to experience this unity consciousness. So unity consciousness is becoming one with everything. So the ego dies, basically. That's what I learned. All like the story of the human kind of is, you're not identified with that anymore, and you're one with everything, and there is pure bliss, pure love, pure joy, and all of that. So I thought this is what I want to experience all the time. And yeah, kept on meditating also with different spiritual teachers, but always with a transmission. So this was always my path. Every time I meditated with somebody who had a transmission, and a very profound person who I was following is Mother Mera. So she's a incarnation of the Divine Mother, avatar. She lives in Germany. Yeah. So she did this daily online meditations, and I just meditated with her daily as well. And I saw her in person. I received darshan and all of that. So this was part of my journey as well. Yeah. And then, so before unity consciousness, there is like other levels of consciousness you have to go through as well. So what I experienced was self-realization. So self-realization is when you realize you're not your body, you're not your thoughts, and you're not your emotions, you're something more. And how I experienced that, I started to observe myself from the background. So I saw I'm that on the background, and everything is happening in me, kind of. So I saw my emotions happening, my thoughts happening, and then I started to become more aware of my human patterns, of my thoughts, limiting beliefs, right? Things I learned, but then I realized, okay, I didn't really resonate with them, like learned at school, in school, society, or from parents. So I was just more aware of what was going on in my system, and I wasn't before at all. Like I didn't have access to that. So I started to have access to my inner world more. So I was already able to let go of things and not act on certain patterns anymore, because I felt they are not serving me. So this was kind of a really good place to be in. But I didn't really have a shift or anything at that stage. It was just the opening happened slowly, and I was just more aware of everything. And then it took like a year going through different stages, I guess. So there like were openings happening, for example, God consciousness, where I saw God in everything. So I had experiences where I was outside in the woods, and suddenly something like a door opened in front of me, and everything was just like golden and blissful. Everything I looked at, it was so beautiful. And this is known as God consciousness. So when you see God in everything, and it was such an amazing experience. I had experiences like that all the time coming in. And this was, it's like a motivation of the universe. Here you go, you get a little bit, you have a little opening so that you move forward, right? So everything was really nice at that point. So there wasn't really any emotional releases happening or anything. So it was kind of very smooth. And then it took a year until I had actually a shift into unity consciousness. So this was the first real shift I experienced. And it happened in a meditation. So I was again meditating with the group. And suddenly I had like a vision of my skin just flew off. So like a balloon, so up in the sky. And these were the outside boundaries of like energetically, and they just dissolved, and I became one with everything. And then on the next day, I realized, okay, a lot more has happened. So who I thought Eva was, I experienced as like just a collection of energy in the center of my chest, and this was ripped out. So I experienced like a hole there. So who and like the identification with myself, who I thought I was, and all my life story was basically just ripped out of my chest. So that was a big shock, because I mean, you're so used to that, right? Your whole life, you're just used to that little energy ball there, the identification. Also, the ego stepped into the background. And I felt one with everything. So I experienced, when I looked at things, that there was no boundaries anymore. So all was one. And that was really nice, like for a day. This was what I was looking for. The bliss was there, the joy and all of that. But after a day, also unfortunately, but good, when I look at it back, we have this mechanism where we push down all like the emotional stuff we don't want to experience, right? And this mechanism just blew open. So everything blew in my face. I wasn't addressing, or not everything, but a lot of it. So I had a lot of fear coming up. So I had so much fear, anxiety, depression. I was in a deep depression. I felt so fearful, and yeah, it was very different from what I thought it's going to happen, because it was the total opposite. So it was the total opposite of love and joy. And it was horrible. So I looked out through the world. It was a horrible place. And I felt horrible. My body felt tired and drained, and everything at that time was basically very negative. And yeah, I also couldn't eat certain things anymore, like couldn't have coffee, couldn't have sugar. So I was very sensitive to foods. I was also very sensitive to energy. So I had to stop meditating with transmissions, because the transmissions felt like needles in my body. Wow. Yeah. So I was very sensitive. I also started to feel beings in other dimensions. So I didn't see them, but I felt them. And because there was so much fear in my system, I, of course, attracted the low vibrational ones. And yeah, so when I was sleeping at night, they were kind of coming and how do I say, playing with me or whatever, messing with me. So I was very, very fearful at that time. And then I looked for help, because it was the total opposite I was looking for. And so I started to work with a healer. And the healer helped me to clear low vibrational energies out of my system. Also to close down like that access to these other dimensions, so that I don't feel them anymore, at least the sensitivity. And addressed a lot of these human low vibration energy. So from past life influences, from ancestral influences, and what I have stored in my life, from my life experience in my body, we started to clear out. And after every session I had with her, I felt a bit better. And I also could experience, so always when I had this fear going on, or whatever came up, so when a human emotion popped up, so samskara or karma, I was caught in that, and I didn't see the unity. I couldn't experience it. But then when this was gone, so when it was cleared, I could experience the unity, and also like a little bit of this bliss was there, and a little bit of this joy. And so basically the bliss I saw in everything. So I saw a vibration in everything, and I also was that vibration. So this was like, I'm the self. So I'm everything that exists. And it was really, really nice. I mean, it's really nice when, you're not this small human, that's all, right? So I worked with that healer for over a year, and also at the same time did a lot of other practices. A really good one was like a visualization and pranayama practice that brought up also more of these energies, of these low vibrational energies that I had stored in my system, that I could clear more and more. That was also kind of a challenging time. It took like half a year, and I was like, okay, I really want to go through this. And I did even more of this practice than I was supposed to. Like I did it twice a day, not just once a day, because I wanted to bring as much stuff up as possible, because I just wanted to, leave this behind me and go into the bliss and the love and the joy, right? And into the unity. And yes, again, half a year of basically suffering, going through these emotions. And, when these emotions come up, it's not always that you're not getting caught in a story. Like most of the times, again, I was caught in a story. So it stayed for a few days until I realized, hey, I'm actually keeping this emotion in my system with the story. Then I was able to let go of it, but this happened over and over again. So over and over again. Anyways, but the phases in between where the unity was visible, they became longer. So like first it was only a few hours a day, but then it was maybe days, then it became weeks. And then in the end, like in the end phase of unity, unity conscious needs to integrate in every aspect of your life until you fully realize the unity. It was maybe there like once or twice a month, so really, really nice. And also who helped me a lot on that or in that time was, so I was listening to Bashar. So maybe you know him, yeah. So
Yeah.
this alien channeled by Daryl Anker, and I really, really enjoy his work. He has a transmission as well, and he also talks about how this reality works, because I didn't really know. And he helped me a lot. So, I mean, the alien stuff, I wasn't so interested in that, but I was really interested in about how this reality works and how I can work with this reality so that I have a better life experience, because this is in the end what I wanted. And this is basically also what I'm doing with my work today. I'm helping people to, on the one hand, realize their true nature, but also have a better life experience. And then I help clearing emotions out of their system, those stuck energies I was working through as well. So this is basically what I'm doing today. This is how it manifested. Anyways, then unity consciousness was then eventually integrated. So I got the information, unity consciousness is now fully integrated. And I knew, okay, so maybe to share a few other things that happened while integration of unity, for example, all human desires started to fall away. So I didn't have any desires anymore. Then I knew it doesn't matter what I'm doing in this life, I will never get anything out of it anymore. So there is no reward. Right? So it doesn't matter, for example, if you help somebody and usually you feel better, but this is gone. Or when I buy myself something nice, before you feel, oh, I bought something, you feel amazing. But this all fell away. So I don't get anything from this reality anymore. This fell away. Then also the I thought. So even though I was in unity consciousness and an individual is experiencing the unity, there is still the I thought. So I was still triggered, when somebody said something nasty, for example, or, was nasty towards me, I felt, oh my God, the person was being offensive towards me and I felt triggered. And this also started to fall away, or then eventually fully fell away. So basically, when I saw somebody was angry with me, I just saw somebody being angry with me, but it had nothing to do with me because it didn't hit me anymore. So that also fell away. So just a lot of different things started to fall away. And that was, I mean, all really liberating, right? Also, meditations were really nice. So I was meditating every day, just in samadhi, hanging out in samadhi. So in different kinds of samadhi. So either, you're still aware of your surrounding, but you're just in a very deep space, or I was totally zoomed out. So sometimes I was just totally zoomed out for hours a day where I was just gone. And this just helped to deepen the expansion on the level of consciousness. And then I knew, okay, so when the self-realization is fully integrated, the next step is the Brahman consciousness. And so I kind of knew this is the next step. And I was at a retreat and we played this Divine Mother music, so devotional music. So that was really nice. And I felt this really beautiful, unconditional, divine love coming in, like not love I've never experienced before. So love where you can just cry because it's so beautiful, right? So this love started to come in. And also suddenly the Divine Mother, so that energy aspect came into my system, and I experienced basically that the Divine Mother was in my system and looked out through my eyes into the world. So it was a very feminine energy. It was extremely powerful. It was unconditional love. It was joy, but also at the same time fierce and strict and strong. So all these aspects the Divine Mother energy has. And I experienced that. And then I thought, wow, if I can experience this all the time, could I experience this all the time? Because I experienced it at this retreat. And then she said to me, or I just got intuitive the information, I have to get rid of the human love I have in my system. So all of the human love. And then over a course of 2 weeks, she showed me what the human love was in my system. So all the conditional love. So I love you because you are nice to me, or because you are my friend, or because you are my partner, or whatever. So it's always conditions, right? I mean, not that it's negative, but just I was shown that because I didn't see that before. And then I gave it to her. So every time I was shown, so I just gave that to her. I gave that to her. I gave that to her until all the love in my system was gone. And then the Brahman came in. And the Brahman is empty. There is nothing there. There's no love, no joy. There is also no low vibrational energies. There is no emotions. So it's no emotions. It's just an empty space, total empty. There is nothing going on. And then I realized, and also an aspect of the Brahman, what fell away is the individual. So before, an individual is in unity, but in the Brahman, the individual fell away. So there is no individual experiencing the Brahman or the nothingness or anything. It's just, there's nobody there anymore. And I realized, wow, I'm just pure beingness. I'm actually pure beingness. I'm not human. Because in unity, a human, an individual is experiencing the unity. And in Brahman, this was totally gone. And it's a very, I guess, very dry phase, if you want to call it like that. There is just emptiness, no emotions. I felt very disconnected with this reality, because basically what happens is you step outside of creation in Brahman and you look into creation. So when you walk through your life, or you do whatever you do, it's always like you see everything manifesting in front of your face. So even people, you see people, and then when you look away, they collapse, they're gone. So when I went for a walk by myself, for example, it felt like I didn't have a family, I didn't have friends, I didn't have a partner, nothing. So everything was just gone. You can't grab anything anymore. So it's just what's there in the moment that's there. It appears when you interact with it, and when you stop, it just collapses. And a good way to describe it is, for example, when I looked into the distance, I saw something like a movie screen far in the distance, and everything was projected onto the movie screen in between in a 3D layer, and behind there was nothing. So then I realized, okay, really just our own consciousness is projecting our experiences in front of us, for us, that we can have this life experience here on Earth. But that's really it. There's nothing more to it. So everybody really has their own individual projection, individual life experience. And then also what happened is I felt like I was in a very deep meditation, in a deep samadhi meditation, far away all the time. So when I was talking to somebody, I was talking to that person, and when I stopped talking, I was like, basically my consciousness was pulled up again into that deep meditation. And then when I had to talk again, I had to come back and then talk to that person. So it was kind of very exhausting, talking to somebody, because I was always gone. I was always like somewhere else. I mean, it was nice because there is no suffering, right? There is nothing going on, no emotion, so no noise. Today I call it the human noise. There was just no noise. But on the other hand, after a few weeks, I just realized I miss the love. I really miss the love, because it's nice to be there and be fully liberated, but the love aspect, just, I missed it. And also, I wasn't really a lot of use for my family and friends anymore, because I didn't really want to spend time with them, or, yeah. And so I decided, and I knew there is something coming afterwards. So that was easy for me. It's time. I want to come back. Okay. And it was so funny, because it was just a decision. And basically on the next day, the human aspect started to come back in, but different. So, but just slowly. So it took a few months until he was really back. So this is the para Brahman. But like the love started to come in, but it was unconditional love, for example. So it's exactly the same love for everybody. There is no difference, like really no difference. It's the same love, but it's not like the human love that you love your partner and there is like this love coming from the heart and very intense. It's more like a subtle love, but it's the same for everybody. There is no difference. So it's the love for the beingness, for everybody's beingness. And of course, I feel a draw to my to the beingness of my partner more, and my family more than to a stranger. But it's like, there is nothing there that distinguishes really, it's what's the word? Okay, I'm have a loss of the word right now. No judgment or anything, like no differentiating. So that came back, the love. and a little bit of the joy, but it was the joy of existence. It's just joy of existing. So I experience, for example, constant bliss. It's there 24/7, but it's more of an empty bliss. So it's not like, when you go through the awakening process, especially some people who have like Kundalini awakenings and stuff, there is like this ecstasy of, this bliss everybody's talking about, very intense. But this is more subtle, but it's just the fact that I'm existing brings in this bliss. So this is why it's there all the time. So I don't have to do anything for it. And other aspects. So emotions started to come back in, but everything is happening. So I'm pure beingness and the human and everything. So I know I have this human incarnation, and that's perfect. And basically what came with it is the full acceptance of the human incarnation. So there is nothing I want to change about it. Everything is perfect as it is. And this understanding came back in, and a lot of higher information, like universal information as well. Because when you step outside of creation, then you come back in, you just take all this information you gain from there, you take it back into creation. And also a transmission started to come in for me as well. So basically, the transmission started to come in, and I was able to read it. So a transmission is just light with information, right? And intuitively, I started to read it, and it basically told me, okay, I can now sit down and sit with people and basically help them to also realize these higher states of consciousness. And this is basically what I started to do. So I started to sit with people first in silence. I did like one-on-one sessions, and suddenly my hands started to move. So I started to work with the energy with my hands, but I didn't really know what I was doing at first. And after a while, so working with hundreds of people, basically a whole concept started to form itself, how I can work with people's energy fields and how I can clear low vibration energies out of their systems and how I can connect them to their true nature. So the pure beingness, what I experienced in Brahman, that they can experience that all the time as well. And with that pure beingness, a lot of aspects are coming for the system. For example, to have a totally open system that life energy is always flowing through you. So nothing is getting stored. So before, emotions are getting stored in our system. This is why we pile up so much throughout our lifetime. So this mechanism, especially that holds down the energies, but also if we don't fully live through an experience, it always gets stored in our system. And I help to open up the system so much that life energy can flow through us. We have an experience in the present moment. And we only live in the present moment because past and future is just also a mechanism of the system. And it's not like the experience of it is real, but it is actually not real. So this starts breaking down as well, that we can actually access past and that we can access future. It starts breaking down, and then you only have the present moment, and that's it. Like there's no other possibility anymore. And life energy flows through our system. So we have an experience in the present moment, we live through it, and then the next one comes in the next, but you never get stuck. Like these energies don't get stuck anymore. So basically you don't accumulate karma, because this is also something that I realized just approaching the Brahman. I don't accumulate any karma anymore. In past lives I did, and before that I did, and because I cleared so much out of my system, that was perfect. But then this point came, okay, I can't even accumulate it anymore. So there is of course a little bit of karma left, because otherwise I wouldn't, there is no reason for being here. But other than that, no new karma is coming in. And then also the full surrender of the system to life and to how life is unfolding. So surrendering is part of the spiritual path, and it's kind of really hard, right? So full surrender, 100% surrender. This also started to come in at one stage, and I really helped people with my work to fully surrender. And also that life unfolds in the best possible way for them. So the transmission that comes in for me, I call it the transmission of the highest truth, and I can transmit it. Yeah, I can do a little demonstration later that you can experience it, and also the listeners.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So it comes in and it pulls you towards your personal highest truth. So everybody has their own individual truth, because we incarnate here. Everybody has a different reason why we're here, with different experiences we need to make, going through certain different karmic patterns. So everybody's very different. And this transmission pulls you towards your personal highest truth. So if, for example, your personal highest truth is liberation in this life, then you will be pulled towards it, meaning you will get exactly that help you need in that moment when you need it. So the perfect teacher, the perfect transmission, whatever, the perfect audiobook, the perfect podcast. So whatever is helping you for the next step that's coming in. Or it's not just that aspect. It's not just the awakening aspect. It looks after the human as well. And this is what I really value, because this is also what Mother Mera, what Mother Mera's transmission is doing, and what I really value. She looked after the human aspect so that the human can have a nice life experience. Because spiritual awakening is a lot about awakening consciousness, but it really misses the human aspect. But we're still here. So people have, for example, realized higher states of consciousness, but their human life is a mess, right? And this is what I didn't want. I wanted always to have a nice human life experience, and the transmission is doing that as well. So I'm very grateful that this is happening. So basically, that things that are supposed to be here, so the best possible timeline you can live, it pulls you towards that, the best possible timeline. I guess this is also a way to describe it. So the best possible job, the best possible friends, the best possible exercise, health, whatever it is for you, it pulls you towards that. But it's a journey unfolding, so you always get a little bit and a step forward and a step forward. So you can never like reach an end point, it can always be better. But experiencing that journey is so nice, because every week, every month you see, and you look back, you see, oh wow, I feel so much better than a month before, or synchronistically, synchronicity is just something that's there all the time. We just need to see it. But like, we feel like everything is just unfolding in the most effortless way. We meet the right people, right opportunities and stuff like that. So yeah, that's basically what the transmission is doing. And I'm assisting that transmission by helping to clear energies out of people's system, and again, pulling them towards their personal highest truth. And and I read, messages are coming through. So you will see then just messages are coming through, and I just share what I see in the transmission. Yeah. So this is basically the story. And
Thank you. That you've explained it in such a way that people really get it, because I think a lot of people want to get enlightened tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they think, if I meditate quickly, for a whole week, then it'll be done and it's sorted out. But it doesn't work like that. It is about the journey.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
and also, just one more thing, like, your system wouldn't be able to hold this high level of consciousness, and also not this massive amount of energy that's coming in, because the more more expanded your system gets, because this is just part of the journey, the more information comes in, so the more light, but only that is transforming you, and you have to be able to hold it, and you couldn't before. So there are often people who have openings, right, for only like 5 minutes, 10 minutes from higher levels of consciousness, but then it closes down, meaning the nervous system is just not ready to hold that. And also, you have to work through all your human stuff. This is just part of it. I mean, my work really helps to work through it with more joy, so you don't really have to like suffer through it. But also, the system is not able to hold all the suffering at once. So it has to be like, one thing after the other, clearing out of your system, that you can actually fully clear your system, or at least to most extent. So it has to be a journey. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also think that, from my understanding, is the collective also needs that growth. So as one person goes a bit higher, it raises the rest as well. So it's kind of like a step up system.
Yeah,
for the rest of
definitely. Definitely, because when you can hold more light in your system, you basically radiate this, in your area with the people you surround yourself with and all of that, and you affect them as well. You affect, I mean, when you work on yourself, you affect, of course, your family, your friends, you affect like your ancestors, your children. So we are in a time where we can really stop all these karmic patterns and start fresh. And this is really amazing. It's a very amazing time. And this is why these transmissions are coming in, and these possibilities, because it wasn't there like 20 or 30 years ago. I mean, in a certain way it was, but today everything is really fast, and really powerful, and the transformations are happening in very short time. I mean, like my whole transformation from self-realization to para Brahman took 3.5 years. It's not a long time. And so it's just possible today. And that's really amazing. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So what I also like is that you've explained it in a very logical, structured, scientific way. It's not some woo-woo, I woke up one day and I had this feeling, it's for anybody that says, I come from a legal mindset background where everything's not the ego, but it's all logical, rational.
Yeah.
It's the left side of the brain to totally tapping into the right side of the brain. And letting all of that go. That's amazing. Yes. I think it would give a lot of credibility to you, because the truth is everybody's saying it's woo-woo, and it's not. It's science.
No.
It's how things work.
Yeah. It's very simple. And also like the human system on an energetical level. So I'm always shown on the core level, the blueprint, everything is so simple. And just the human stuff that's accumulated on top and all the stories, that makes it complicated, but it's all really simple. And this is also, when you go through this journey, everything becomes just really simple. Life becomes really simple. There is not a lot happening, but this is just more enjoyable than before, with all this noise and this confusion, and you don't really know what to do, where to go. And so that's why life becomes so enjoyable, because it becomes so simple.
Yeah. Well, I like that you say that, you experience that initial bliss and then you think, this is how I'm going to feel forever. And then you don't. In fact, the opposite happens. People say, why on earth would I want to have spiritual awakening if I'm going to go through all that pain? Just give me wine rather.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have this aspiration. So basically what I shared before, I was looking for something more, but I didn't know what it was. And mostly people look on the outside, so they think if they have a lot of money, then they find it. And the ego can get caught in that, can get caught in jobs and in money and I don't know what else is on the outside, and stay there. And I guess this is what our souls or our journeys before in afterlives have been. But then there comes a point where you just want to, realize the true nature. And I guess this is possible today. And I guess this was my lifetime where I was able to realize it. And so you need this aspiration. So you really need this pull towards this, because otherwise you just wouldn't do it. You wouldn't go through that, right? No. And then you also need you need a grace in a way. So you need just something that pulls you towards that. So you are going towards it, and then you're pulled towards that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, because not a lot of people are on that journey, and that's not their journey. It's not
totally fine.
Not for now.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned earlier darshan. Now I've had a darshan experience, but for the viewers, could you explain a bit about what that is? Because I know they use their eyes to look through your body, but just so it comes from you, not from me.
Yeah. I mean, darshan with Mother Mera, so everybody gives darshan in a different way. I can do it too. Is basically the transmission comes through the eyes and directly into the soul of the person, which is great because there is no boundaries and barriers or anything, because in the body there is all these stuck energies we were talking about, but that's fine because this is then part of the clearing process. But when it comes through the eyes into somebody's eyes, it comes directly to the soul, and the soul can remember its true nature. And it's a very powerful way to transmit this spiritual energy. And with Mother Mera, I mean, to me, she's a very powerful being, like extremely powerful being. So she does a lot more than, just helps to realize your true nature. She sees your whole life experience, and she kind of helps to form it so that you also have a better human experience, right? And a lot more. So every time I went to her, so I received darshan quite a few times, I felt like a little bit newborn afterwards. She just took a lot away and she gave me a lot, but like what she gave me was liberation, all the time a little bit more. Yeah. So very beautiful.
Well, I mean, besides the fact that she's doing that, it's just that somebody actually sees you.
Yeah.
For you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Not just what you look like on the outside.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
This is why so many people feel really touched when they go there. Exactly what you said. They feel seen. Yeah.
Yeah. So just on a personal question, I have been in the void. I call it the void because that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's like wherever I go, that's where I am. But there is no emotion. And I used to think when I heal all these negative beliefs and I'm going to be happy. But actually all that happened was my mind went clear.
Yeah.
My brain went clear. So what state would that be in? Because I don't see a projector screen, but I do see it like I'm just there. If I'm working, I'm there. If I'm talking to somebody, I'm there. And I see it objectively. I almost like see it like I'm talking through the body. It's not me. If somebody's having an issue, then it's their issue. And I can see the joy in the fact that they're wanting to experience that.
Yeah.
But I'm missing the emotion. Would that be a
Mm-hmm.
Brahmin state or is that something else? Because it's been for a long time.
Yeah, so it's possible. There are two states that are very similar. So it's just before entering unity consciousness. It feels exactly the same way. That just the difference is that the ego is still in the forefront at the identification with the human. So that's still in the forefront. And it feels like a void. And it's a lot of people call it the dark night of the soul or whatever, and a lot of people I know get stuck there. So this is possible that it's there. And the Brahman is really the shift is so profound. It's such a difference in life experience, like you couldn't miss it. Like it's such a different way of living, of experiencing this life, of seeing this life. So if I don't know where you see yourself on that journey, but
No,
you
it's not
would
the
not have
dark
missed
night.
it.
It's definitely not the dark night of the soul.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like totally disconnected from everybody and anybody. I
Mm-hmm.
almost feel like it's like the entire universe is out there just being, and
Yeah,
I'm there just being. And
yeah,
it's like whatever I want to do, what I want to do, but I'm not getting joy out of anything because, like you say,
yeah,
there's no reward in it.
yeah,
Before I'm in a new country, I would have gone and investigated and
yeah,
gone to see the museums. And right now I'm saying, what's the point?
yeah,
There's
yeah.
no want to do it. And it's not apathy. It's a
No.
different feeling.
Yeah, so this is an aspect definitely of the Brahman. And what happens is that everybody's journey is a bit different, and some aspects of that can manifest already before. So again, you would know, like I don't know, if did you ever experience like an opening to the unity consciousness? Did you experience that?
Oh yeah,
You
I've
know?
been through
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's definitely possible. So, I mean, to me, the Brahman shift was nothing like anything I experienced before. So it's very possible, of course, that you experienced that. And to me, it was really then deciding, okay, I don't want to stay in there because it's very empty and there's void, right?
So
There,
disconnected. So
disconnected. Yes.
disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wanted to have this human aspect back. So
Yeah.
I guess this is it's interesting because I just got an email from Buddy exactly asking me the same question, that he has been stuck there and he kind of also wants to have the human stuff back. And I mean,
Yeah.
I will tell you the same what I'm gonna answer to his email. It's really like my transmission or the transmission I work with, it pulls you towards your personal highest truth. So whatever is perfectly and right for you is gonna come in. So it's not that I can bring this in for you. It's really the transmission decides what's best for your next step or what needs to come in. Maybe you need to stay in that state for another year or maybe only another day. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
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 But
Yeah. I got it to a point where I said, I'm going to stop resisting. If
yeah,
this is what I'm meant to have, then this is how, whatever it is. So if it's going to be for a year or 2 years or
yeah,
however long, then
yeah,
what is the gift in that? And the gift is that what I came from, and I may be wrong, is that before I was going through so much trauma and drama that my mind was so full
yeah,
that they're actually leaving me alone. They're saying,
yeah,
okay, take your time.
yeah, yeah,
And when you're ready to come back, then then you will be there for you. But okay, so yeah, I just thought it's
yeah.
interesting because you mentioned that space, and I'm having a similar. That's
Yeah,
otherwise I wouldn't
yeah,
have brought
it
it up.
sounds
But
like it. It sounds like it. Yeah. So I guess it's really when you decide, okay, you had enough of that space, you were left alone enough for that time frame, and now it's time to come back, then I guess it's just a decision. It's really a
yeah,
decision from your being, okay, I had enough. That's really
yeah,
what it is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean it's
so
it's 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 nice, right? It's nice, but it's at the same time disconnecting. So and what I felt in Brahman, so much valuable information came in, information, higher information that wasn't there before. And that's so valuable. I mean, this is also a very big value because you can't see this information in any other state. Like it's only seen in Brahman.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm noticing a lot of things like patterns, and I'm joining the dots in my brain. But for the most part, it's quiet. It's very, very empty and very quiet, and nothing's happening.
And in your system, like I call it the emotional state, do you feel any emotions or none at all?
If I'm interacting, I might feel here and there, and then I know, okay, that's something I need to work on. But no, for the most part, I'm feeling like, okay, let's see what the day has to bring. If I hear a song and I react to the song, I go, okay, that brings up a memory for me.
Okay.
But I'm aware of it in the background. Like I'm not in the song. I'm going, okay, so I'm having this memory and I'm having this experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also thought I just want to be happy and blissful. But yeah, that.
Yeah. No. And it's also when the human aspects are coming in, it's far different from what we ever thought it's going to be. It's very different. And then there is actually something after that as well. Maybe I just touch on it really quickly. So there is the pure divinity. And this is basically when your system gets filled up with divine light and then you're merged with God. And I mean, yes, in Brahman, there are also no gods anymore. They just disappear. So before there are gods and universe and divine mother. And this falls away because you become that, right? But this aspect, this divine aspect started to come in then in pure divinity again, and then merges with the human. And then after that, you have just a normal human experience. You don't feel spiritual. You're not interested in spirituality. It just merges into one, and you just live a very normal, very boring human life.
Yeah, you know what they say? Before awakening, chop wood, carry water. After awakening, chop wood, carry water.
Yeah, exactly. So this is then just the full acceptance of the human life, and that's it. And really, again, being back in the human, and fully back in the human life, and that's really it. So there, on a consciousness level, there is an end. So there is, and in Brahman, like I don't know. Do you feel, for example, this is something that fell away from me in Brahman, was that my consciousness stayed the same. So no matter what I did, it didn't change anymore. Yeah. Before in meditations, the consciousness still changed. So it was interfered with, or I gained something, or lost something, whatever. And this exactly stayed the same all the time. And this is still the same. So on a consciousness level, Brahman is the end. But on the system level, there is a lot more, and there is a lot more. Like we can't even imagine, this is like, this never ends until we die. So there can always be more expansion, more love coming in, more truth, more abilities. So I know some people, for example, so for me, the healing and all of that started to come in Para-Brahman. So when the aspects started to come back in, and for most people, they experienced that before. So it's the siddhis. It's called the siddhis. So it's part of the awakening process that they have these openings, and they fall away later on, and they're not coming back. So they don't have anything to work with, really. So they just have that experience. So it's really different for everybody. Also with that aspect, with the system aspect. But I feel like on a system level, there can always be more expansion, more light, more truth, more love, and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like the Matrix, when you realize that you're in the Matrix, but you're not part of the Matrix,
Yeah. Say it like that. Yeah.
Or yeah, like you can observe it, and then you can say, okay, I'm going to go back to playing my character again, but I know that I'm playing my character this time.
Exactly.
I'm not unaware.
Yeah. And this is why also whatever is happening on this planet, it doesn't interfere with you, or you don't interfere with it. You just see it's perfect how it is, because this is how it's supposed to be. Every human is going through their specific incarnation with their experiences, and that's totally fine. And this is why everything is perfect as it is. Even though, people who are in the matrix, or who are still identified, they see this horrible, like what's happening on the planet, everything is so horrible, and it's true on one level, but like seeing it from the outside, coming back in, you just see, okay, it's supposed to be like that, and that's it, so yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great. Yeah,
totally. Yeah. So Would you like to do your transmission?
Yes. Okay,
That would be
great.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for you and for everybody who's listening, just sit back, relax, enjoy, and close your eyes. You don't need to do anything. And I will just remove my headphones. And I need like a minute to just tune in. And I always do like a little grounding and stuff like that, and then say a little prayer. And then I start talking. Okay. So I'm going to do it for like 15 minutes. Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Okay, so just sit back, relax, close your eyes and meditate along. Okay, so I start with opening up the energy field. Bring in light. Then I expand the energy field. So expanding the energy field helps to hold more light in the system, and also more awareness comes with that as well. And the energy field can always be more expanded. So we can always hold more light in the system. And light is higher information, and that helps us to transform our system on a cellular level. So the information, on the one hand, is important for the mind. So the mind needs some kind of information, but really who the information needs is our system, that it basically remembers. Okay, so I'm expanding, still expanding. Then I fill up the expanded space with light. Then are just thought and emotions and other energies that are floating around the top of your system, and that are those energies that are creating the noise I was talking about before. So I'm clearing the surface energies. And by clearing those surface energies, again, more light can flow into the system just because there is more space. Then I open up the central energy channel. So the central energy channel is where life energy flows through the system. And life energy flows from the root to the crown chakra, and then falls back down in all directions, left, right, in all directions, and then flows up again, and so on. And the optimum way how our system works is that so life energy is flowing through our system. We go through an experience with all thoughts, emotions, senses. We fully live through it. It's also projected into our own consciousness, so we have an outside experience of it as well. And then when the experience is over, it fully leaves the system, so that we don't have a possibility to store it in our systems anymore. This is how we want it to be, because before, those energies, when they're not fully processed, when the experiences are not fully lived through, energies are getting stored in our system. And those are the energies that are being triggered up over and over again, when something on the outside happens. For example, something fearful, then the energy of fear gets triggered up in our system, or anger, whatever, the energy of anger gets triggered up. So it's always something that's still in our system that gets triggered up. Okay, and that's what we don't want. And this is also why we can experience a past and a future, because for example, we had an experience 2 weeks ago, something we didn't prefer and we were angry, for example. And then when we think about it, we, for example, trigger back this past experience. So the anger comes back in, which is still in our system, right? Comes back in, then we fully live through the anger and the story is still there. So we actually live in the past for that moment. We don't live in the present moment, but there is no actual past. So it's just a function in the system. And the same is with the future. We can also project past experiences into the future, same way, and then we live in the future. And most of the time we live in the past and future and not in the present moment. It's just because of this mechanism. And with that, working on the central energy channel and clearing the system, those mechanisms start to fall away as well. And then we can only live in the present moment. So there's nothing else then. Okay. Then I accelerate your life energy so that you have more energy available. And also we can always have more life energy flowing through our system. And the less blockages we have in our system, the less stuck energies, the more the life energy can flow. And then we have the experience that life is just unfolding moment by moment, more and more. And it's so effortless because it's not us that we need to do certain things or need to accomplish things or need to go anywhere. It's really life energy is carrying us and we're just going with the flow. And this makes life a lot more effortless and a lot more joyful. So I'm helping life energy to flow more. Okay, now that energy is specifically working on the third eye chakra and crown chakra. So those chakras help with the connection up to higher possibilities, up to higher energies, to higher realms. So this connection is just being cleared. That basically that guidance can come in more for you, that guidance towards your true nature. So the grace I was talking about before. So we are able to receive the grace if we want that. That helps us to go through our process and then realize our true nature. And for that, the connection up and also the higher chakras need to be more open so that that energy can flow in. And also I just help to clear energies out of the third eye chakra, just blockages. I clear blockages out of the third eye chakra. And it's mainly around energies on a mental level. So this is not possible for me, for example. So this is not possible for me. This is not possible for me to reach these higher levels. So just thoughts, I'm just clearing thoughts. Thought patterns, this is not possible. How I'm even going to do it? How is this going to unfold for me? I don't even know what to do. Then also heart chakra. So this is the identification. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do to reach these levels, to go forward. I'm trying really hard. I'm trying really hard. I try everything I can. I try everything I can. To reach higher states or also to realize my true nature. So I'm trying really hard. I clear those energies. And this is not for me anyways. This is not for me anyways. This is not for me anyways. This is not for me anyways in this lifetime. This is not for me. This is not for me. I can't reach it. I can't move forward. I can't move forward. I'm not good enough. 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 It's not for me. It's not for me. I can't receive grace. I can't receive grace. I can't receive it. I can't receive it. It's not for me. It's not for me. I'm not important. I'm not important enough that grace can come in for me. or that help can come in for me. So I clear that as well out of the heart chakra. So again, heart chakra is always identification. So I just clear it. And then root chakra is the fear of the unknown, the fear of not knowing what to expect, the fear that's going to be painful, that it's going to be, that there is suffering, that you experience just low vibration energies. There is fear around this, fear of experiencing low vibration energies. So there's fear. So I clear that fear as well. I clear the fear of low vibration energies, experiencing low vibration energies, and the fear of the future, and the fear of going into a space where you don't know what's going to happen, because the human system prefers to know. It prefers the comfort of knowing, although we then never know. It's just also an illusion, but we think we do. So discomfort of the known, and there is fear of the unknown. So I clear that out of the root chakra. I clear the fear of the unknown, the fear of moving forward. Yeah, okay. Then I open up the energy field again, even more. So always when I open up the energy field more light can enter the system. Bring in more light. Then heart chakra, I clear more energies. This is so hard. This seems so hard. I don't want to go through hard times. I don't want to feel suffering. I don't want to, I don't want to experience suffering, basically. So that's the energy I'm clearing out of the heart chakra. Then second chakra, resistance. I clear resistance towards moving forward from the system, again, because the system prefers the comfort of the knowing, which is an illusion. So again, I clear the resistance out of the second chakra. The resistance we have in our system, resistance. Basically, it's in the end then also resistance to just letting go and surrendering. So, and allowing life energy to flow. There is this resistance. So I clear the resistance. Okay. And maybe you can feel now how there's a lot more light in your system. If you feel energies, if you don't feel energies, don't worry. Just know it's happening. Feeling energies really has to do with refining the nervous system. So when you're exposed over and over again to a transmission, it helps to refine your nervous system. And then eventually you can feel it. But again, it's very different. Everybody's system is different. So everybody's perceiving energies in a different way. But if you do, maybe you can experience that there is more light in your system is more expanded, it feels a lot more relaxed, a lot more energy is flowing. You feel a relief. And let's just sit with this for a minute in silence so that you can enjoy it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And just for people who are listening, the transmission doesn't stop now just because we stopped the meditation. So it just continues on working on the system for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We were discussing the void, and what came up for me was that it's not about having no thoughts. It's about just allowing yourself to connect to the feelings instead of being distracted by what's out there.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Yes, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I hope that a lot of people benefit from this. Where can people get hold of you?
Yeah. So I have a website. It's www.em-healing.com. So there you find a lot of information. I offer a free healing meditation every Thursday at 9 o'clock Central European time. So you just probably have to convert the times then. So it's noon, I think, PST or BDT, so a Pacific time. But yeah, you can check the time difference. And there's always a half an hour chat and question and answer. And then we meditate for 50 minutes and I work with that transmission and also do a guided meditation. And we're kind of a big group of people. So the energy is really strong because the bigger the group, the more of light can come in. So that's always really amazing. And I also offer small group sessions where I just work on healing and clearing people's systems. So it's very intense. There's a lot happening, but it's, it happens in a very nice and safe space. So you don't have to experience any suffering or anything in that. So that's really great. That's what I really like about my work. You don't have to suffer through all these low vibrational energies. And then a new project came for me in a few months ago, and that transmission I'm working with, right now I'm channeling it, right? So I'm sitting here and transmit it. But the transmission basically showed me a way that I can connect people directly with it, and I'm not needed anymore. So I have a separate website. It's called www.nextelevations.com. And on that website, there's a lot of information and videos about this. And this is where you can connect to the transmission 24/7. And it's really like you are in a meditation 24/7 or on a spiritual retreat 24/7. And you don't even need to sit with it. You can meditate with it if you want, but it just comes in. It's transforming your system towards your personal highest truth during your all day long. Things that are in your life that are not so good for you can then start falling away. So mostly it's because you realize. So basically you realize these things are not serving you, like friends, family, job, I don't know, whatever it is, place where you live maybe. So you realize, okay, there is something better out there, and it pulls you towards your personal highest truth. So these new opportunities can then start coming in. So it's going to be very different for different people, like I already said before. So for some people, it means improvement in health, doing more sports, being more active, looking for a new job, or new job opportunities are coming in, or better spiritual teachers or whatever. So it's really a process, it's unfolding, and this transmission basically just pulls you towards that all day long, and it never stops. And there is a 2 weeks free trial. So if people want to connect and see what it does for them, try it. I highly recommend it because it's so convenient, right? It's the most convenient way. And so this is where people can find me.
So that sounds amazing and interesting too. Something that you don't have to rely on somebody else. You can do it whenever you need it, and not when somebody is available.
Exactly, because it's not always easy to get a one-on-one session with somebody, or if you need it right now. But this just comes in all the time. It's comforting you all the time. So for people who feel energies, it might come in very strong in the beginning, so they feel it very strong, and then after a few days or weeks, it starts to step more into the background. And basically, its job is, so when it's integrated in the system, it kind of works from the background. And there, for example, we have frequency enhancers. So this transmission contains everything you can think of. But if you feel there are certain areas in your life where you just need more support, like health, you want to experience more inner peace, you want to experience unity consciousness, you want to experience your true nature faster, or whatever it really is, live in abundance, then there are just frequency enhancers, and you can also get those. And then this pull is just a bit more, there for you into that direction. So there is the energy specifically for that also coming in more.
Yeah. Sounds
and also
amazing.
it's there for pets also, and for location. So if you don't want the energy to follow you around all the time, because some people, they rather only have it at home or in their workspace, that their work is unfolding better. Also for pets, we also have it for pets because they live closest to the human, and it's also possible for pets to work through karmic patterns, and also have better health and stuff. So we have those options.
Wonderful. I'll definitely look it up myself as well, but I'll post all those details in the links below as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then Eva, do you have a message for our viewers before we go?
Yeah, I mean, I have the message, and it's a bit controversial for many people, but I just want to say it's everything is perfect as it is, and just know that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, and you're exactly in the right place with the right people at the right time, and everything is perfect. And yeah, that's the message.
Thank you. Yeah, it's that stop resisting.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and then
thank you so
everything is
much.
happening. Everything is happening. When you fully have the information or fully realize everything is perfect as it is, everything basically happens by itself. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to do anything. In
Yeah.
fact, that's the message. Don't work so hard.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Yeah.
step back. That's what I'll
Yeah.
take from
Yeah. I mean,
it.
this was a pattern I was in. The harder I work, the more I thought what I accomplish is worth more. But it's the total opposite. And people were telling me this, like I've heard it so many times, but I didn't know what to do with that information because, I was told on the other side. Like I thought working hard brings in the fruits, but it's not true. So yeah, I can say this now.
No.
I can share this. Yeah.
They say, I work my fingers to the bone, and all I have now is bony fingers.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Eva, thank you so much. It was lovely meeting you.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff came up for me as well, so thank you for that. I'm sure a lot of you will benefit from it as well. And maybe one time I can bring you on again and we can do something else, or maybe you want a channel or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that would
Be
be
great.
really amazing. And yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me. And that was really, really interesting. I loved it. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
All right. Have an awesome day.
Okay. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to the channel below. It helps YouTube to send you more content like this, and you'll be the first to know when a new video is released. To watch my most recent uploads, click on the cards above.